The following is a rebroadcast of TV50's Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Eaton 50 Sports and the New Hampshire Candlepin Bowling Association present Candlepin Stars and Strikes. From Standings Bowling Lanes in Windham, featuring the best Candlepin bowlers in New England.
Split it. Look at this.
Yes! Oh, wow! Right in the pocket.
Oh, there was never a doubt about that one.
And now, your hosts for Candlepin Stars and Strikes, John Brown, and filling in for Dan Murphy, Gary Duffy.
Hi, everybody, and welcome once again to Sandy's in Windham. We are at week 3 of our 5-week ladder championship series. Hope all of you are enjoying the long Thanksgiving weekend. Gary Duffett once again is here filling in for Dan Murphy, and we're set for another great match. Steve Vadney has got to be the odds-on favorite every time he steps up here, but this should be a good one.
Well, Steve's been bowling like a machine, and Jerry's going to have his work cut out for him for sure. We haven't seen Jerry before, so it's we don't know quite what to expect.
All right, let's meet the two bowlers. First of all, Jerry Myrick from Manchester, New Hampshire, making his first appearance with us on the program.
We can see here he's throwing hard cross alley. He comes from Maine, and that's not untypical of a lot of the bowlers from Maine. They all seem to bowl like Charlie Milan used to, and still does.
So he'll be making his first appearance with us on the program. On the other hand, Steve Vadney, who won last week with a 409, beating Bob Francoeur, who rolled a 386. Steve, this will be his 11th appearance with us, and of the 10 previous times, 6 of those times he's rolled a 400 triple. So he'll be going for number 7 today, and we'll take a look at his form in slow motion.
Well, 400 is average here, so you got to expect he's going to throw another one. Jerry's just going to have to throw a lot better than that in order to beat him.
Steve, of course, visiting us again all the way from Claremont up north, and we are going to come back and have the first string of today's match and more details on our bonus ball contest, which, by the way, is up to $120 this week, so we hope you have your postcards in our box, and we'll be telling you a little bit more about that a little bit later on. Right now, it's time for a commercial break. We'll come right back and start the match after these words. Don't go away. Here you see the situation in this ladder series. We are in the 3rd week, coming to the halfway point, and the winner of this match this week will get a crack at our number 2 seed, Mike Poulin, on next week's show. And then 2 weeks from today, our number 1 seed, Jack Ray, will be here with that big 725 roll-off score. That's for 5 strings, remember. And Jack will get a chance to see if he can capitalize on that big roll-off with the ladder championship. But right now, we have more business to attend to. Jerry Myrick set to get us started on lane 32, making his very first appearance here with us on the program. Jerry living in Manchester, moving to New Hampshire recently from Maine, as Gary mentioned.
He starts off way on the right-hand side of the lane.
Really angles in from right to left.
Buried that ball in the pocket and really didn't get much of a leave out of it. It's going to have to go right at the nose of the wood.
Jerry does most of his bowling at the lakeside lanes in Manchester.
Still the same shot for a 10.
And now he'll move over to lane 31 here at Sandy's. Jerry works for Professional Paving in Hudson. He and his wife Cheryl have a son, Sean, and another child due in March. And another good pocket hit, and this time it pays off.
Yeah, that was a nice ball. Throws a backup ball, meaning the ball breaks slightly left to right. Buries this one right in the 1-3 pocket.
Now Steve Vadney.
Steve must have been a little bit stiff with that one. Ooh, it almost came up.
Steve now with more appearances than anyone else on Stars and Strikes. This is number 11, and more 400 series than anyone else. He has 6 of them. And in his previous 10 shows here, he is averaging 132.7, which is almost 4 pins above his average.
And there's why. He hits the head pin full, but gets a good splash. Nails a single pin.
For both bowlers with marks up in the second, Jerry Myrick now comes up working on that strike. Nancy Davis doing the big scoreboard for us this week once again. Bob Bover is handling the line. And Jerry with another great first ball, and he leaves a solid 8-pin with a piece of wood right directly in front of it.
Yeah, he's just got to go at it as though the wood wasn't even there. Just drive that piece of wood straight back. Piece of wood rolling on the right there. He's got to wait for that to stop so it doesn't catch his eye.
And the cap cost him.
That's a tough break. Wasn't much else he could do.
You mentioned, Gary, that Jerry stands to the extreme right on his approach, and over here on the left lane, he really has his leg just about up against the ball return when he starts.
You can see when he throws the ball that his arm swing almost hits the ball return.
And of course, that's something that a lot of amateur bowlers can relate to. They get a little unnerved sometimes as a right-hander with the ball return to the right, or conversely the left-hander with the off to the left. What can you suggest? Is there anything you can suggest to kind of conquer that? It's more a psychological thing than anything else, I think.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't recommend that anybody bowl from that far to the side of the lane for that particular reason. You know, you just never know what kind of condition you're going to run into. But this is very typical of Maine bowlers. Just seen so many of them that really hug the right-hand side, go across alley.
Of course, many of the lanes now have the under-the-floor ball returns, which helps because then you have nothing at all obstructing. Once again, Jerry waiting for a piece of wood in the back. He'll be shooting at the 1-2. And he was just about ready to go, and it moved again.
He's a very deliberate bowler. Comes out of it with a 9.
47 through 4 for Jerry.
He's had something, you know, a spare leave almost every shot, except for the first box.
Steve Vadney right in the pocket once again, but it's the 5-10 with no wood.
Well, let's see how sharp he is today. Just wants to cut that 5-pin to the right.
Too far.
It's an uncharacteristic 8-box for Steve.
Last week, in his 409, he had 17 marks, and 16 of them were spares.
He can make the shots. Just like this.
Almost.
Give that a super shot.
Leaving the 4-pin. Two pins the difference through 4.
Well, nobody's running away to hide here. Good competitive match so far. You have to think that Jerry would have a few butterflies, this being his first time on the show.
You never know it, though, the way he's burying that ball in the pocket every time.
He's throwing every ball right there. Let's see if he goes for the pin or plays the wood.
He does have a clean shot at it. It'll be tough to get by, and he decides to take it that way.
Well, the percentage was there. mixing the pins well. He's been right around that head pin.
That one, it looked like he put a little inside out on it just as he released it.
Yeah, he does have a slight break to the right. And that one there, he just didn't get up onto the head pin. Smooth bowler, though. You can barely hear the ball on the lane. Try to work this out for an 8. How about a 9?
Steve Vadney, in his 10 previous appearances, has had only 2 3-string totals under 370.
Well, you have to have that here. That's how come he's got such a good winning record. Even when he has a bad day, it's by most everyone else's standards, it's a good one.
Four horseman right, a little bit thin.
He's not quite as sharp this week as he has been in the last 2 weeks, at least so far. Try to work this out for a 10 box. Nice 10. Again, missing the head pin to the left.
And again, the four horseman right, this time with the 8 pin in the back.
Wood may help him a little bit. Not there, though. Uncharacteristic of him to miss the head pin.
Jerry Myrick with a 6-pin lead.
Jerry's down on that 3-pin again. Tough shot, especially coming cross alley. He's going to try to split the 1-2.
Just missing.
Throws a little bit harder than Steve does.
The winner of this match will have a pretty tough task winning the ladder championship because they'll have to get through both Mike Poulin and Jack Ray.
Both great bowlers.
No breather there.
Here we have the four horsemen again. That piece of wood may not help out very much. Just try to split them.
And Jerry turned his head away as soon as he let it go.
Yeah, he's just not getting the ball quite up to the head pin.
Two open frames for Jerry and an opportunity for Steve Vadney.
Well, Steve's about due to do something here.
Diamond left.
Piece of wood in the back rolls off. Tough shot.
Looks pretty good, but the 5-pin is still there.
When you hit it just right, you leave the back pin. You hit it a little bit too full, you leave one of the 2 side pins.
Picks up 2 pins and count. The difference is 4.
Good looking ball going down there. It didn't do much.
But now he'll have to shoot at the 4, 5, 7 with no wood.
Play the 4-pin off the wall.
Does it, but
almost like that.
Pretty much went off the 7 pin, which deadened it a little.
That's about all you could do with the shot.
Another 10 for Steve, and he picks up another pin. The lead is now 3.
Well, these guys are going to have to go to hit their 400s today. Get up on the head pin that time. Not an easy shot here. Probably, well, I'd go on the right-hand end of the wood. Right-hand wood.
Well, Jerry tried it left and didn't have enough to kick it over and take the 10 pin.
Your best chance there was to try and spin everything around. Not that I was sure that it was going to go that way either. A tough break on that one. He hit the head pin. Should have gotten a better lead than that.
Bob over to take care of the loose ball for us. And Jerry Myrick now for the 10th box on lane 31. Another great pocket hit, and will he get the 10 to go? No, it'll be the 4-10.
He was snake bit on that. Let's try and cut the 4 pin over.
Nine for Jerry and a 106. Steve Vadney will have to get a mark to beat him.
Actually, they can both bowlers can feel pretty fortunate that nobody threw a big one against him.
Well, Steve has a good hit, and he's left with the 7-8 with no wood as they both roll off. Just seems that every time somebody starts to get a break, the wood rolls away, or they don't get the extra pin, and that's just been the kind of a string it's been. Steve having a little problem with the delivery that time.
Yeah, he dropped that one a little bit early. I think it's been a long time since I've seen Steve go this long without a mark.
And he takes the extra pin this time, the 10 and the 2 also, leaving the 4 and 7.
This is, that was not a gift. Well, perhaps this wood coming over will help. He really doesn't want to catch any of that wood in the left-hand gutter.
Gets it off the wall.
He almost got a little bit too far up on that, too.
Well, Steve should have a lead after this first string. It won't be a big lead, though, as neither bowler able to get anything started here in the first string. Just 2 marks apiece. And a 5 fill. And 2 pins the difference after 1. 108 for Steve Vadney, 106 for Jerry Myrick. And we're back with the second string and more of Candlepin Stars and Strikes after these messages. Steve Vadney to lead it off here on lane 32 in the second string, and both bowlers I'm sure would like to just forget about that first one and start all over again.
I'm sure the bowling will be a lot better this game.
Steve leads by 2, and he will immediately look at the 5, 6, 10 with wood.
Well, he either play this on the left-hand end of the wood or the right-hand end, whichever he feels most comfortable with.
Right there.
That was a nice shot.
Third mark for Steve, all spares. Perfect spot. And the fill is 6, and this will not be easy.
Well, it's getting a little bit better. That wood rolling away isn't going to help him. wood really isn't a factor now. He's just going to have to get down in the right-hand corner, play the triangle, and hope to get the extra one off the wall.
Nope. Flip that 6-pin right in between the 5 and the 9.
It was a good bid, though.
Have you ever gone so far, Gary, as to just have someone set up a shot for you just so you could practice a particular shot?
I used to give lessons years ago, and I used to help people to set up wood shots so that they could learn how to play them. It's a lot of fun.
Jerry Myrick in the pocket.
There's a strike. No doubt about that one. Buried that in the 1-2 pocket. This ball coming back in. Just splashed the pins all over.
His third mark, 2 of them are strikes. Off target that time.
He's definitely having trouble on that left-hand lane, lane 31. It may be that he can't stand as far to the right as he'd like because of the ball rack.
A reminder that although many of the bowlers appearing on Candlepin Stars and Strikes are members of the WCBC Pro Bowlers Tour, it is not necessary that you be a member of the tour in order to participate. All you have to do is check your nearest New Hampshire Candlepin Bowling Association house and find out when the next TV50 roll-off is, enter it. If you finish in the top 5 in your particular preliminary roll-off, you then move on to the finals, joining the top 5 bowlers from all over the region. And there's the strike for Steve Vadney on spare.
He's starting to get loosened up.
And if you then finish in the top 6 in the final roll-off, you come here on the program. Speaking of the WCBC Pro Bowlers Tour, back in October, man sitting to my right finished second.
Wonder of wonders.
With a score that would be good enough to win most of the events. 1365, is that what you said it was?
Yeah. It held up until the final shift, and then Peter Flynn went in and broke the Concord Alley record with a 1424, I think. But I was happy to finish up there in the money again. It's been a while.
Those of you who may not know, Gary took a little time off from bowling during the summer to have arthroscopic surgery on his right shoulder, which is a very common operation among athletes, particularly pitchers.
Yes, all us great athletes.
That's right.
So it was a nice shot there. Actually, the surgery was really a piece of cake. Modern science is something. I was telling you before that it was outpatient surgery. I was only out of work for 1 day, and back bowling again in 4 weeks.
And had a chance to watch the operation on videotape. I love that. Just to check and make sure he knew what he was doing, right?
That turns most people off, actually.
Steve Vadney with a strike up in the 4th. Jerry Myrick at 43 through 4. We move along on Stars and Strikes after these words. Bob Bover never lets his eyes leave that lob line. Making sure. Steve Vadney now on lane 32 working on a strike. extending his lead with
Nice.
this fill.
Good ball, but couldn't carry the 7.
Almost.
Oh, excellent try. Another thing about Bob Bover is that he's a head mechanic here at Sandy's and recognized as being one of the best people with Candlepin machines in the industry.
Right. In fact, a few weeks ago, Dan and I get into a discussion about the depth of the gutters and so on, and the exact measurements of the pin plate and so on. And Bob provided us with pages after pages of detailed information that he keeps on hand here to make sure that everything is up to specifications. It has all the answers. 2 open frames for Steve Vadney, pair of 10s.
He's 24 over though after 6, so he's heading up towards a 140 game.
Jerry Myrick. I'm sure Jerry would like to start seeing some spare leaves like this one. He has just 1 spare so far. 3, 5, and 6 on the triangle. Leaves it a little right.
Triangle can really bum you out. That's what he wanted.
Runner-up on this show, check for $75, and the runner-up plaque from the N&R Trophy Company of Winchendon. Also, a copy of Jim Fairhurst's book, The Light Side of Candlepin Bowling, provided to us through the courtesy of John Grapponi Ford Incorporated in Concord. And the winner will move on to face Mike Poulin next week.
Nice 10.
So, both bowlers with 10s in the 5th and 6th.
Steve has quietly opened up a 20-pin plus lead.
Had just 2 pins coming into this second string.
Seems to be a common leave today. 5, 6, 10. Piece of wood. Gonna have to try and play it on the left-hand end of the wood and hope something comes off the wall to take the 5 pin out.
No.
Not getting that extra mixing action that he's gotten in previous weeks. There's one.
5 pins still there. Now we'll see what the wood does.
Well, the wood shouldn't be too much of a problem. You want to go to the right of the red line.
Mark number 6 for Steve.
Now Jerry's got to start getting some marks. He needs to get some confidence on those spares.
Boy, that pin came flying through there. I don't know how it missed everything.
Sometimes the fastball doesn't help you. 4 horsemen plus the sleeper. Very tough shot. Good try at it. Just missed it.
The lead now 24 for Steve Vadney.
With a mark up. Jerry's going to get something started here.
Four horsemen left.
Again, just missing the head pin. Just needs to run it right down. Right between the 1-2.
Missing the object once again. Steve Vadney now to fill a spare in the 8th and extend his lead a little bit more.
Steve can bust this thing wide open here in the last 2 boxes.
Another 9 drop, solid 5-pin. He doesn't miss many.
Oh, he loves that pin. Actually, you don't see him miss many at all, no matter where they are on the deck.
This one will be a little tougher. 2, 4, 6.
Just wants to cut the 2-pin to the right. See if you can make a 10 out of this by sliding that wood over. No.
A 139 middle string for Steve Vadney. 247 for 2.
Needs a 153 for his average.
Jerry Myrick trying the Brooklyn side this time, and how did the 3-pin stay up?
Looked like that one was going to go down first out of that triangle. Well, he needs to hit the 3-pin anyway. Try and hit it head on or just a little bit to the right. Move everything over to the 7.
Wow.
He's got to be a little frustrated about now.
$40-pin lead for Steve Vadney.
He hit the 3-pin when he didn't want to that time. A lot of wood on the deck. Just play it between the 1-2.
And again, leaving a pin, this time the 10. And it will stay a 9 box for Jerry Myrick, and Jerry is going to have some work to do in the 3rd and final string. He will trail by 40. 207 for Jerry Myrick to 247 for Steve Vadney. 3rd and final string coming up on Stars and Strikes. Jerry Myrick from Manchester, making his first appearance on Stars and Strikes and been struggling just a little bit.
If you want to win the match, I don't recommend going into it 40 pins down to Steve. Got a little bit of a break there. Just got to find that head pin.
And he'll get a little more action on this, but not enough to take the spare.
He's just missing that head pin by about a board.
The odd thing is, the first 3 or 4 boxes, he was right on the head pin every time, and since then he's really struggled. Again, this time half Worcester right.
Just needs to hang in there. Hope that he can throw a flurry of strikes. Usually when you're hanging the ball up to the right like that, it's generally a sign of one of two things, either not following through or rushing the line a little bit with your footwork so that your body gets there ahead of your arm swing.
Jerry waits for the extra pin. He'll take a 9. Incidentally, if you've ever wondered, the rule on that is if you press the button, you've forfeited anything that might happen after that.
Yeah, if you're in a tough match, that's what will happen.
You want to wait before you press the button. You want to make sure everything's over.
I've seen some people give up in disgust and lose a couple of pins. Steve's not really being pushed too hard. I'm sure it's kind of tough for him to really be concentrating right now.
Drove that one right through the head pin, leaving the 3, 4, 6 with wood.
Just split it right in between the 3 and 6. Came awfully close.
Jerry Myrick has gone 11 boxes now without a mark.
He carries a good 115 average in his league, so this isn't typical of his bowling. I'm sure he's learning a lot, this being his first time on this TV show. Shaking his head. I'm sure he's thoroughly disgusted with himself by now. Nice out.
He comes out of it with a 9.
It's so frustrating when you know what you can do, but you just can't make it happen.
There it is.
You can see that. When he's on that head pin, he moves the pins well.
Steve Vadney through the middle.
This could be a pretty shot. Just wants to cut the 2 pin to the right.
And pretty indeed.
Actually, it wasn't a pretty sight the way he played it, but it went. See, he hits it a little bit full.
And on the fill, Steve takes 7.
Takes 7. He's got another interesting shot here. All he wants to do here is to go down and split the 4-7. Piece of wood behind it, which could make the 4 pin jump way over to the right.
And a 10 for Steve, and we will pause right here. Through 4, the 3rd and final string. Steve Vadney with the lead. Jerry Myrick will come back working on a strike, trying to string some things together here. When we return, don't go away. Jerry Myrick has 4 marks in the match, and 3 of them are strikes. He's working on one of them now.
He needs to start throwing bunches of them. 4 horsemen left.
There it is.
That's the shot.
Nicely done.
Well, if he can keep getting them 10 at a time, he can end up with a heck of a score.
On the head pin again, spare leave, 4-7.
Good fill, nice piece of wood. All he can do is just keep marking.
He does not have a clear shot at this.
Oh, goodness.
And he just got it. He knew he had missed it, but he'll take it.
You see, you got way down on the low end of that wood. Actually, the right-hand wood helped keep the ball in play.
And now Steve Vadney.
Steve can't afford to take any chances here either. Oh, there's a break.
Steve's had some very unusual drops.
Yeah, the ball isn't carrying that well for him, at least on its way in. He got some extra mixing action that time. Now he's got tough little wood here. He may use that right-hand wood to guide the ball into the 7. No problem. Went straight at the pin.
Mark number 9. It's interesting that 3 weeks ago when Steve won his ladder championship, he had 7 strikes in the match. There's another one. I was just about to mention that he's only had 2 strikes in the last 2 weeks. Now he has 3.
Well, he got the action on that one. Just misses the head pin. Gets a lot of pins flying around. Looks pretty good on the score sheet.
Jerry Myrick looking for his 4th mark in a row, and he's got a shot at it.
But Steve did what he had to do. He had to. He couldn't allow Jerry to keep getting 8 or 10 pins at a clip on him.
And there's another one.
He's coming back strong now.
Well, he's found the range, but it may be just a little bit too late.
Well, he could still end up with a decent score. And, bowl is average on the show.
Bounced that one in, and
He bounced it, but he followed it through to the head pin. Got a tough split.
oh, nice shot for Jerry.
Nicely done.
That's 5 in a row.
Got it on the outside. Well, the bowling's heating up a little bit now.
Nice shot for Jerry. Steve Vadney now on the strike in the 6th. Almost.
He's got his favorite pin looking at him.
Well, I don't know if he meant to do that, but he'll take it.
Yeah, I think he was playing it safe. You know, the wood on the left was a nice guide, and as long as he touched the wood, he couldn't miss the shot.
Watch out, coming this way, and he almost got the backdoor strike.
He's getting the mixing action now. And he's still trying to hit his 400.
Another mark. He's got 4 in a row.
Action's picked up a lot now.
Marks everywhere. Jerry Myrick has 5 in a row. Unfortunately, he trails in completed frames by 44 pins with just 2 remaining. A light fill, but look out.
Oh,
look
at
out.
this. Well, he's got a lot of action on that ball, even when he misses the head pin.
And another one with frozen wood.
Not exactly where you're supposed to play it.
funny how all of a sudden Jerry's getting the extra pin that he wasn't getting before.
I know it. He couldn't buy a break before.
And missing this time, ending the streak at 6 in a row. But Jerry will be over his average for the 3 strings. A 10 for a 143 and 350 even.
Respectable series, especially for the first time on the show. Now that 143 will whet his appetite. He probably can't wait to get back here.
Steve Vadney on a spare.
Ho hum, 9 and another.
Makes it look easy. Steve Vadney will move on to face Mike Poulin next week here on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. And as Steve wraps it up here in the 10th frame, we will break away, come back and talk to both bowlers and see if we can't win $120 for one of you out there in our home contest right after this timeout. Don't go away. Back at Sandy's, Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Jerry Myrick, our runner-up today. Jerry, you got it started in that 3rd string, but I know you're probably disappointed about the first 2, but a good 3rd string for you.
Yeah, it was. I had a struggle on finding the head pin, first couple of strings, but all I can do is just keep trying, and come back at them.
Well, perhaps we'll see you again. We certainly hope you will be here again. We have a check for you for $75, the plaque, and a Jim Fairhurst book, and thanks for coming. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Jerry Myrick, our runner-up today, and now we move quickly over to Steve Vadney on lane 31 for our bonus ball contest. And it's a 9 drop, and we have $120 on the line here, and we'll see if we can't get a winner. And it is not for Dale Finnemore of Manchester, New Hampshire. Dale's guess was a 7, so it'll go up another 10 to 130 next week. And next week, you, sir, will be facing Mike Poulin.
Well, I hope I'm in a little better sync than I was in the first game of this series. I felt all awkward up there. 2nd string, I got a bunch of breaks, heavy hits, carried. 3rd string, luckily I had enough to stay, even though we both started macking all at once.
Well, we are looking forward to that match next week with you and Mike, so we'll be talking to you again then.
Okay, fine.
All right, Steve Vadney, another win for him here on the program. Now 8-3 in his 11 appearances. We're running out of time. We'll see you next Sunday. Mike Poulin will be here to challenge Steve Vadney. For Gary Duffett and the whole TV50 Sports crew, Doug Brown. Bye-bye, everybody.